Welcome. We are so excited you've been able to join us for our Arm in Arm in Action event. Those of you who know us and our organization, Arm in Arm in Africa, this is a chance for us to support partners in South Africa because of the critical need they have for health care, the ongoing need for food, as well as education support that is so critical there. That's because so many things that have happened over the generations, and we have people who are new to us, and we're welcoming you today, as well as some who are familiar with our organization. My name is Daryl Savage, honored to be on the board of Arm in Arm in Africa. It's great to be with you, Christopher.
Thanks, Daryl. My name is Christopher Herman. I'm a two-time past delegate of Arm in Africa and thrilled to be here with Daryl to be your hosts today.
It is critical for us to be here today because of the fact that when you think about how impactful COVID has been in our country, even more significant with our partners in South Africa because of their homes, because of the opportunities or lack of it. This is a critical time, and what a perfect time on this weekend where we celebrate Nelson Mandela Day.
That's right. Our financial goal for this event is $200,000. And we have a great addition from the board of directors. The board has gotten together and donated a $20,000 match, which means every dollar that's donated starting now up until the next $20,000 is matched dollar for dollar. Thank you, board of directors. Thank you For those of you that are donating already, it is super easy to donate. You can see it on the screen. You can go to the website aiaia2021.fundraise.org. We have a fantastic show for you today, and we're going to kick it off right at the top by hearing from the president and co-founder of Arm & Arm in Africa, Jim Cassidy.
It's my honor today to join Christopher and Daryl in welcoming you today to our second virtual fundraiser, Arm & Arm in Action. We, who are people of justice, cannot and we will not rest. I'm Jim Cassidy. I'm the president and co-founder of Arm & Arm in Africa. I've had the honor and the privilege of this journey for over 20 years. And today I welcome you again as we have an incredible opportunity to visit our partnerships in South Africa and to see the work that's being done. We who believe in justice have been able to develop programs over these last years. The three pillars of our program are food distribution, health care, and education. We as a world community are still in the process of coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. For the first time in my memory, in my lifetime, where the entire world community experienced a challenge together. And so today we also remember the over 3 million men, women, and children that have died. Today in Africa, the continent continues to struggle mightily with the Delta variant. And the country of South Africa has the highest number, again, of new virus infections. It has affected our work. It challenges us. And so today, we want to, again, think about the importance of justice. Think about, in this new opportunity as we come through the pandemic, how we can continue to make a difference. I share this quote that I used recently at a celebration from Nicole McElhaney. And the quote is simply this: "And the moon said, 'My darling, you do not have to be whole in order to shine.'" You do not have to be whole in order to shine. That is a lesson that I and many have learned by journeying to South Africa over the last 20 years. We have been able to see how the people of South Africa shine with joy and with compassion. And so today, I invite us to be generous. I invite us to shine perhaps in ways that we never have, to continue to support the work of Arm & Arm in Africa. I want to thank our partners in South Africa for their participation in putting our program together. I want to thank the board members of Arm & Arm in Africa, both here in the US as well as in South Africa. And most assuredly, I want to thank you, the donors who have contributed over the years, and perhaps today will be for the first time, to help us shine as an organization based on justice. Thank you.
The reason we shine our focus on South Africa is because of the devastating impact in that country of apartheid and the injustices that come when someone's color reduces them to 4/5 of a human being, which is exactly what apartheid laws did. As a result, the lingering impact has been devastating, and that, followed by AIDS, has put many people in a very, very bad position. And we are honored to have a board member who was recognized by Nelson Mandela and given an award because of the great work he's done in the community. I'd like to introduce you to Reverend Spivo Kapile.
I've known and I've worked with Arm & Arm for over 20 years. The decisions that continue to be made are not top-down decisions. There are decisions that are decided with us, and we are part of a process where we are together co-creating the future we would like to see. And this has an impact not only in South Africa, but also in the United States, where they are seeing what needs to be done in their own country. And I think we have journeyed with Amin Africa to this point where an interest in dealing with justice issues is emerging. And I think that's the most exciting thing that I am exposed to, Mr. Mandela. One of his most interesting sayings for me, if you've been taught to hate, you can be taught to love. That statement for me requires that we stop a little bit and think, which I think this is what Arm in Africa has done. After 20 years, and what has happened in the United States, George Floyd, confronting them, too, in their own neighborhood in Minnesota, they stopped and they said, let's think a bit. What is it that we have to do? And they could see the injustice, not very far, but very close to their nose, and said, we can't pretend not to be seeing it. And how do we introduce in our programs and in our initiatives as Arm in Africa justice issues? The whole world is full of people of enormous compassion, kindness, and understanding. The world is not such a bad place. And Arm in Africa has shown that and has learned that from our own people. I have a part to play, not yesterday, but today.
James Baldwin is quoted as having said that not everything we face can be changed, but nothing can be changed until you face it. Let's face it, now is the time. Now is the time to make justice the sound that reverberates across the globe, and that all people have access to it. You know, Maya Angelou said that to reach for the stars is ambitious, but to reach for hearts, to touch hearts, is wise. It is wise what we do here, and it is wise for us to make choices, to see that justice can be achieved for all people across the planet. You have to believe. If you believe deep in your heart, you know that no one can change the path that you must go. Believe what you feel and know you're right, because the time will come around when you say it's yours. Believe there's a reason to be. Believe that you can make time. Stand still and know from the moment you try, if you believe, then you'll be there. Believe in yourself right from the start. Believe in the magic inside your heart. Believe all these things, not because I told you to. If you believe in yourself, yes. If you believe in yourself, woo. If you believe in yourself, like I believe in you.
Thank you, Spivo and T. Michael. That was inspiring. We're now going to focus on one of the three pillars of Arm in Arm in Africa, healthcare, both physical and mental, which is especially important during this challenging time of COVID.
My name is Zetu Kapile. My title at work is the Deputy Director for the Primary Healthcare Services. I have 9 facilities that I look after. 17 out of 100 South Africans do not have healthcare insurance, and that makes them dependent on the public health services, which is stretched. But with the COVID-19 pandemic, this has stretched the healthcare services to a breaking point. We are short of resources in South Africa. We are short of resources, and the sad thing is that it's only one part of the population that is short of resources. It's not everybody. People who are mostly affected by the pandemic are the poor, mostly the people in the rural areas. And if you move out to Gugulethu or Crossroads, you would see the enormous poverty that is there with the informal settlements where people are living. And the pandemic, the virus is thriving in those areas. So it has really hit hard on them. With the COVID-19 virus, the key thing is using the mask, social distancing. But talk about social distancing in informal settlements, where it's not even a term that we should be using in informal settlements. Mm-hmm. Talk about a person contracting the virus and having to be isolated in an informal settlement, in a house where there are about 10 to 15 people in one house. How on earth do you isolate there? We talk of being tired of hearing about COVID stories, but COVID has brought up a lot of things that many people were not aware of. The Arm in Arm gave us testing booths. So someone would say, why on earth would you need a testing booth? You would need a testing booth because these people who are testing have been screened and found to be having signs of COVID. So you can't really mix them with other people. So the testing booth actually helped us a lot to actually be able to separate, have 2 streams, the COVID and non-COVID streams. So make it easy for people who are not infected, not to be infected. You go to a facility because you need assistance, not to get more infections. Mm-hmm. So 2 streams helped us to do that. The partnership with Arm in Arm in Africa has made a big difference in the provision of healthcare services for our community.
My name is Nompumelelo Mandangana. I'm a nurse by profession, and I'm a member of the congregation, the J1 congregation in Gugulethu, Cape Town, South Africa. So I'm part of the wellness team. I'm leading the wellness team here in the congregation. We started the wellness team because, way back in 2000, when our people were suffering from HIV and AIDS, and we started that as a support group, trying to respond to the challenges that the people were facing in those days, because people were rejected at homes, they were even rejected in the churches. The community, were suffering because there was no treatment way back then. When a person was diagnosed with HIV, that was a death sentence, and we wanted to improve the dignity of the people. Because people were dying alone, a lonely death, we stood up. We used our profession in order to make a difference into those people. Now we are responding to COVID, and we have to educate the community. South Africa is rich, in resources, but there's a lot of inequality and equity. So we don't have much as the black people in the townships. So we're trying to prevent people to get sick in the first place. To me, it's like a humanitarian movement where they didn't close their eyes when they see the plight of the poor, irrespective of race, irrespective of color, irrespective of religion. To me, it goes to places where there is a need. They are looking into the three important aspects of a person: food, education, and healthcare. The impact of me partnering with in Africa, it has made me to understand or expand the concept of Ubuntu. The concept of Ubuntu it's for you to help to take somebody else's arm, walk the journey with somebody else, be in the shoes of somebody else. Then to me, that is what I've learned from Anna.
Well, when I received the letter bomb back in April of 1990, people all over the world acknowledged my story. I received prayer, love, and support, and that enabled me to travel a journey from being a victim to a survivor to a victor. When I returned to South Africa, I discovered that for millions of South Africans, their stories had not been acknowledged, reverenced, and recognized. And that was perhaps the discovery of a new calling, to be a healer in the sense of creating safe and sacred spaces where people could have their stories acknowledged in the same way that I was. And we're about creating safe and sacred spaces where people can tell each other their stories. And we seek to contribute to healing the wounds of history.
And by that history being both yesterday as well as 50 years ago.
But obviously, racism is a fundamental issue, and it's interesting how the murder of George Floyd, after so many black people, particularly black men, as a consequence of police brutality and the Black Lives Matter, also reverberates in South Africa, where we too have police brutality, and also people are still living with the consequences of racism after a very long time. And if I echo back to the United States, it's interesting the comment that people have made that in their response to Black Lives Matter, more white people than ever before came out of the streets against racism. So I think in this battle for a truly human society, we also need to see and embrace the signs of hope. People don't want things to be done to them. They don't want things to be done for them. People want to do things with other people. And I think the name of Arm in Arm suggests that form of collaboration with mutual respect and mutual dignity. And that is a vision going forward, that we relish that relationship of mutual respect with Arm in Arm, that we are partners together.
We've just heard about the important work Arm in Arm in Africa is doing around healthcare in South Africa. And that is possible because of your support. Thank you to those of you that have already donated today. It's easy to donate. Go to aiaa2021.fundraise.org. We're now going to shift our focus to another one of Arm in Arm in Africa's pillars, education, where we'll learn about the support of children from preschool all the way through the teens preparing for university.
My name is Olga Kapile. I live in Malungeni. I love education a lot. I have a feeling that being not educated can never take you that far in life, because really many things need education. You can have a skill, you can be skilled by birth, but if you don't have the theory, if you don't have a slight education, you cannot go far at all. That is why we're still trying very hard to mentor, to motivate the little ones. They must know what is education from the younger age. Has done many things to our community. It didn't come to my community to direct us or to rule our community. They just listen to us, they listen to our needs, and come up with something that will help on those needs. There were homes where it was very bad. Maybe the parents have nothing to give the children to eat. But when Arm in Arm came, things changed. There was something much better in the house, in the home. And number two, there are some homes where where is no one employed. So it was difficult for the parent to buy even a pair of shoes for the child to go to school or uniform to go to school. But now, ever since Arm in Arm came and assist with food stuff, it's easy for the parent to take the money that was supposed to buy food on that month and buy some uniforms for the child. Arm in Arm play a big role in education in our community.
My name is Carol Scott, and I am an educator. I'm here because I did a workshop in Samora Michelle in Cape Town, and we've been very humbled and being in this community. It's been wonderful to work with the teachers in this community. You know, if you're privileged and you are moneyed, you have the opportunity of a really good education, and many people do not have access to that education. And for me, it's a social justice issue, that education should be actually the cornerstone of the social justice system. It's amazing. This is a wonderful community. We've been welcomed so graciously, and it's just been it's been fantastic. And so I thank Arm in Arm in Africa, because I think that they're definitely the reason that this has all been able to happen.
My name is Tobeka. I live in Malungeni. Arm in Africa is a founder of Libongo Preschool. I am a chairperson of that preschool. I've got one child, a boy, 26 years old. He is in Cape Town now. He is looking for a work, but he didn't finish school. I'm only one who is working. Everything depends on me. So I tried my best to do everything at my home, whereas it is very difficult. I choose to work in education because I love children. I love children very much. We clap our hands for Arm in South Africa, because today everybody will get some food. If you give me food, you give me a lot.
In 2020, we painted the streets of melanin. We bounced sound off the baseboards of the soil. We did a citywide sound check. We hummed Just Us until it was justice we believed. We etched our stories into the concrete, made hieroglyphs of memes. We played in the internet of life and took over streams, took back the clouds, controlled the rain. We danced in historical context with southern twang. You should have seen us. We, a collaboration between sun and soul. We demanded a place in the process. We who are processed, treated like artificial ingredients, sugar in Jim Crow's lemonade, red dye 40 on the trees. We showed up, we who believe. We met at the intersection of color and skin, intersectionality and inclusion, and all who believed that injustice had to end. We were a color wheel, a mosaic, the most beautiful of controversial paintings. We walked out of school books. We taught history in live action marches. We took our sweat and thickened the line so there was no confusion about if we were sitting on the wrong side. We revealed ourselves, our beauty and our prejudice, our pride in the evidence of things needing change. We who believe in justice painted our skin in revolution so all could see the war cry, even if our lips didn't part. We laid in the streets and shifted the ground with the beat of racing hearts. We who believe in justice cried tears that often felt like losing. We watered the ground in our sorrow and came back to flowers blooming, to new trees, to holy rivers, to cleansing spaces, to still waters we believed. So faith is small as a mustard seed, justice. A concept that is constantly denied a green card, a reality we don't know much about but dream of, an elusive lover and friend, a cousin that doesn't show up to the family reunion. Often we screamed for it. We manifested its presence. We made space for it. We made contortionists of the stiff. We changed hearts. We found open corners of closed minds and pushed light in. We who believe, we renewed our faith at the cross of community. We were hurting. We were broken. We collected the pieces of shattered souls and took them in. We laid them in the hope we had. And while they were different, we mourned what was. We mourned who wasn't. We watched them mend. We found family in colorful places and learned that struggle in this life is relative, and that makes us relative. We learned to be good siblings on this rented planet. We learned that backbones are made to interlock like habit, and we address our destructive ones. We are not perfect. We are simply learning that systems are people moving in unison. We are creating a new sway, and we are working it. And sometimes our hips get sore, and sometimes this new body of people needs rest. We are learning to center the right and the left. Sometimes our hearts and thoughts disagree, so we problem solve with our chest and we learn to breathe. We who believe that injustice is suffocating us are staying, are standing, are showing up, are demanding, are marching, are fighting, are praying, are writing these words into reality. Justice can no longer be unjust. It is for you, it is for me, or it is for none of us.
I want to tell you about two extraordinary organizations, the first not far from the birthplace of Nelson Mandela himself. It's in a community called Etiphany, literal definition, tip of the dump. That's where they live. We're working with an organization called Touching Acts and with the parents of these children to remove them from a crime-ridden area and allowing them to attend school for the very first time. Another organization 1,000 miles away in Cape Town is called Fly. Their mentors and successful professionals are working with teenagers and young adults to help prepare them for university, a thought not possible just a few years ago.
I am Siziwe Mayoyo. I was born and bred in Tipini, former Tipini, which was demolished in 2012. Tipini was a place that was characterized by a high rate of crime, HIV and AIDS, malnutrition, lower rates of education, and lower rates of income. My wish was that if ever I would be able to escape from that life of misery, I would do whatever it takes to help people from Tipini. I can say I'm the very first product of this organization. So that's why I chose to work here at Touching Acts, because I also want to help Tipini residents. Now we have children from the ages of 7 years to 16 years for now. Children can't study without having food first. So sometimes we just run out of food. We have to beg people to assist us. I can say the partnership that we have with is very good. Is taking care of people from previously disadvantaged backgrounds in terms of assisting them with getting food, getting access to education and health.
My name is Adelaide Matosi. I live at Touching Acts boarding home in Nohud, Mthatha. We don't have resources. We are moving into a generation whereby technology is taking up space, and our children needs to be exposed to that. As far as we are concerned right now, our children do not have access to technology. They know there's something called a computer, but most of them, they haven't used it. They know there's something called Wi-Fi and a telephone or a cell phone, but most of them do not have access to those things. Is continuously advocating for education. Education is the basis of justice. Everyone needs to be learned. Everyone needs to be put out there. Everyone needs to feel that they are good at something. And this is what has been advocating for.
We call for a quality education for all. With Amin Africa on our side, we shall conquer. We call for a quality education for all. With Amin Africa on our side, we shall conquer. We shall conquer. We shall conquer. With Amin Africa on our side, we shall conquer. There is hope for tomorrow if we stand united. With Amin Africa on our side, we shall conquer. There is hope for tomorrow if we stand united. With Amin Africa on our side, we shall conquer.
My name is Lily, and I went to South Africa with Arm in Africa in 2020. I didn't expect to learn so much and see so much, and especially just like the wealth disparities and just like how diverse like South Africa is itself. I think that really going there also made me reflect more on like my own life. Well, I guess it mostly taught me that I need to like keep learning and listening and opening my eyes, because I don't know, no matter how much I think I know, like there's always so much more to learn from others. If you don't interact with other people, especially people who are like different than you, then like how are you going to care about them? And how are you going to, I don't know, have compassion for them? Days for Girls is a program where we provide like sustainable pads for girls who like don't have access to that. And they're like these handmade like cloth pad kits, and like you can just easily wash them. And we brought some to South Africa for Melangeni and for other communities who don't have access to this, so the girls can go to school and don't have to miss their education because of their periods. It's important for girls to be able to go to school even when they're on their periods, so they don't miss out on anything, so they don't get behind, and so they have equal opportunities in life, and so they don't have to focus on their period all the time, and they can focus on their dreams and their aspirations. It's a topic that's usually like taboo, even in like the US sometimes, like in a lot of, like everywhere, it's kind of taboo and just like not really acknowledged. And I definitely like, I saw some of the girls like tearing up a little bit, and they were like silent, like once we like got into the presentation. It makes a difference to be validated and know that you aren't completely alone in your experiences, and just know that there's like other people going through like what you're going through, because definitely it's like, I don't know, growing up is hard for everyone, I'm sure, especially when you're like worrying about so many other things. Every girl should be given like the same opportunity, like, and not be held back.
I'm Marlene Leroux, and I was born in Wellington, a rural area town, and I have the privilege and the honor to be a facilitator of this wonderful building, because I see the theatre and especially Artscape as a cultural hub of bringing people together. So this is my role. Because my background is that I contracted polio when I was 3 months old, and in the hard days of apartheid, I grew up of invisibility, and being a woman of color, you grew up actually to navigate your life around very, very serious and very demeaning and very discriminating and dehumanizing circumstances. Justice means to me, as Marlene Leroux, that everybody needs to be treated with dignity and respect. So it's about realigning the way we think about another person. I believe in people. I see every day ordinary people making huge differences in communities that is making it for themselves against all odds. I want to see in my lifetime that everybody must have clean water, must have a clean space to sleep in. I want to see in my lifetime that every young child must have access to education. So the work that this organization is doing is of utmost importance for our young people, that they must not forget where we come from, that our young people don't become the reverse of what we fought for, that our young people must understand that it is not important to buy the latest car, to wear the latest pair of shoes, but it is important to volunteer in your community to make a difference.
My name is Manene Khikala. As for Fly, I'm the head of Cape Town, and professionally, I'm in IT. I do information technology for a financial organization. So Fly stands for Fun Learning for Youth. We tutor maths, we tutor life skills. The idea around Fly is really to assist the underprivileged kids who cannot have tutors that are paid for. But there's more to Fly though. The Life Skills Lab, for example, what it brings is, it brings mentors. What it brings the heroes that have left the township. There's a lot of success within the township here, but most people actually, they go on and leave the township. But you wanna get back those people back into the township. So we as Fly also bring that within the township and say, we want to bring those heroes back. We want to bring those people that will actually help the kids, or the kids can look up to. And all the tutors that are at Fly, all of them are professionals in their own right. An organization like us needs support. What is it that we can do with what Amazon in Africa gives us? And we say, we can buy books. We have internet here. We can, we can do whatever. So that for us is actually support. So they bring support. They bring, as much as we bring support to government school, they bring support to us so that we can achieve our goal as the organization Fly.
I would say that Fly is an institution that helps kids not just tutor math or science. It actually helps achieve academic excellence, and it's much more safe. You feel in a safe space, and it's not only about academics. That's what I love about them. It's also about personal life. They're here for you. They always ensure you that whenever you're going through something, whether it's at home or school, you can talk to them. I think that the most thing about Fly is that the people that tutor us are highly educated. Therefore, when someone comes in front, a new tutor tells you what they do for a living, it's easier to seek for career guidance, and it's much more motivating when you see that person is an entrepreneur, chartered accountant each and every single day. Then you get motivated that I also can do it if he or she can do it. I see myself making an impact in the world as showing people that it's possible no matter where you come from. And I did mention I also want to study development studies so I can one day hopefully start my own organization or foundation that will help around Africa and donate. I want to be basically a philanthropist.
Greeting everyone, my name is Limam Kambule. I'm 17 years old, currently in grade 11, and I attend Livingston High School, and I'm part of Fly since grade 8. It has made a huge impact in my life because I've improved in my marks, not only marks, but personally, because of the life skills, everything that Fly has. And it's an honor for me to be here, and a privilege because not many people have this opportunity, and I'm so appreciative. It boosts my self-esteem, my confidence, because I can approach people and tell them about this program. My marks, I can help the other students also. Because of the tutors, they are well educated, respected, everything they can, and they don't get paid for this, so we have to honor and appreciate them for giving up their Saturdays to help us, the kids, and the kids that's our privilege to be here. So we have to appreciate and honor that thing for them.
When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light? In this never-ending shade, the loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet, the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it, and so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. We will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover, and our people will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it.
It is incredibly powerful to see the work being done in education in South Africa, and not just the work of the teachers and the mentors, but the work of the students themselves, their passion and their drive to succeed.
And now we get the chance to turn from those wonderful successes in education to our initial pillar, which is in food distribution. Critical in our very first year, and now through all 21 years, we're up to 2,000 parcels of food distributed every year. And our first partnership was JL Zwane Church. Reverend Matya has seen how things have evolved, and here is what he has to say.
I don't want to picture when they arrived here. That was the most crucial time, the time of HIV and AIDS, where black people were suffering. That was the time of poverty. And arm in arm arrived here. And I don't want to picture the life before arm in arm arrived here. What happened last year, on the 26th of March, we had a national lockdown. And that costed the economy of this country. And many people lost their jobs. Some families were not having something on the table. When there are no groceries in this country or in this community, Gugulethu, you will find that crime is rising. Arm in arm made sure that there's something to eat in those families. We are taking these groceries and giving the members, we are identifying the families that are not privileged or that are suffering, or the poor of the poorest. And these groceries, I think they are playing a vital role to just decrease that crime. And arm in arm came during that crucial time.
Kodwa ngoku sikufumanayo ukhona umahluko mkhulu kangangoba siyacela into yokuba sisoloko sinikwa ukutya. Amakhaya angenabazali, abaswelekayo abazali, abaxhome. Siye sithi xa sikufumene oku kutya sikulondoloze kakhulu, sikwazi into kokuba abantwana xa behamba besiya esikolweni bahambe betyile. Xa uzawusela ipilisi wazi into kokokuba phambi uba usele ipilisi kufuneka utye uhluthe uzokwazi ke ngoku into yoba usele ipilisi utsho ube nempilo. Isiphatha kamnandi xa sithe sakufumana ngoba kukhona amakhaya.
Kwixesha bungakafiki oku kutya ibeyithi umntu aze atye ayobamba izinqunu azothola loo mali uba athenge intwana olala eyityile. Into endiyibona yinto yokuba ngaba bayasinceda ngokuba basiphe ukutya sitye, kodwa ke amakomiti aye ke athetha ngento yoba ngaba azama laa mhlaba wasetiphini uba makubuyelwe. Ezi food parcels ziyasinceda kakhulu kangangokuba mna eyam ndiyithatha yonke ndiyise ebantwaneni ezilalini. Mna
ngabantu esoloko kuba sendiyindim umntu omdala okhoyo ndizama ukuyingqongqoza ezintweni ezinintsi, abantwana bangalambi bakwazi ukuya esikolweni etyile bazazi uba ndizawubuya ekhaya nditye. Ukutyalo kwazama ukuthi mhlawumbi kwiinesto mhlawumbi umntu angakufumananga, yabo siyakwazi usherishelana.
Sebephelelwe kukutya esikolweni bayabuya bazokho ukutya bendikunikwe ngu-anele abo. Basezikolweni nangoku abantwana ngenxa yakhe. Nabantwana endihleli nabo abanabundlobongela ngoba bahluthi, abamotshi into zabantu.
Hi, my name is Tom Gorski. I'd retired from barbering 23 years ago, and so I got the idea here that if I could set up a shop in the workshop, as you see behind me, it's going, and make some money for Arm & Arm in Africa. And I announced to the people at coffee that I was going to open a barber shop, and there would be no charge, and everybody was excited. I said, however, there'll be a free will offering, and you can put in there whatever you want. If you don't want, that's up to you, no problems. I opened the barber shop Tuesday mornings from 10 to noon. I'll get anywhere from 2 to 6, 7 customers in that time. And we had been closed for COVID for several months. And when I did open, I think I had 8 customers the first morning. And I have to admit, I was tired after cutting 8 haircuts in a row. But it was worth it because the men were very generous. So far to date, the barber shop has raised over $7,000. I'm doing this for Arm & Arm, I guess 2 reasons. First of all, as a kid, I experienced hunger. And secondly, 4 years in the Navy in the early 50s, traveling throughout Europe, many countries, South Korea, for example, totally impoverished. And then seeing South Africa, the townships, Guguletto, Malangeti, And being with this people and seeing the urgent need for food, it was the only thing to do. And this was one way to help meet some of the funds needed. While over there one time we visited Ipany, which is extreme impoverished area. In fact, it was literally on a dump, a burning dump. And the women there had little daycare with the kids, trying to educate them. And they had a very tiny nurse's office, if you will. And we would bring non-prescription medications, Band-Aids, aspirin, things of that nature, baby powder. And the few bags that we were able to bring over had contributed more than they had there. But the biggest thing I saw was the feeding, because people have to have food. And I just felt that I had to do something to help out, and I thought just giving haircuts was an easy way to do it, because I've been cutting hair since age 17. I'm now 86, and I'm still cutting hair, and I enjoy it. I push for Arm in Africa because Mary and I and several hundred people over the years have been in person. And the people in the township, they're all in need. But the people in the township will say, I want him to have it, in spite of the fact that they need it as much as he or anyone else does. And it's beautiful to see how generous the poor are among themselves. It's just so gratifying to know that you're a part of helping your fellow brother and sister have something to eat. I would encourage other people to reach out, reach down in their pocketbooks and donate whatever they can to Arm in Africa.
Thank you, Tom, for all the work you have done and all those haircuts.
Wow.
There must be some really good-looking haircuts running around.
Absolutely.
All raising money for Arm in Africa. It's so appreciated. And as Tom said, he invites us all to help support the work of Arm in Africa. By going to AIAIA2021.fundraise.org, you can donate right now. And as a reminder, since we started the event, every dollar up to $20,000 is being doubled by the board of directors. Your donations mean so much for this organization. Your donation can help people like Zetu with COVID screening.
Sizewe, who through Touching Acts not only was the first graduate, but is teaching there now.
People like Tobeka to help her get food for her family.
And Lisakanya, through the tutoring that she had, now wants to fulfill the dream of becoming a philanthropist and giving back.
All the work we've seen happen today didn't just happen on its own. It happened with a lot of people putting in a lot of effort, none of which would be possible without your support. Thank you for what you've given, and thank you for what you will continue to give.
And we now leave you with what has become an anthem of hope. Rise up.
We A